Hey friends, and welcome to my channel. Let's get crafting. Today we're going to be using these two different garden basket holders where you can put plants inside of them and hang them up on your porches outside or even inside. And we are going to be cutting away this middle ring that's holding all of the wires into the center to be able to hold flowers. That's because we're going to be turning this into a really cute birdhouse cage. Now, this idea came from someone I saw online, and I want to make sure I give them credit. They went more glam with theirs, and I'm not doing that today. So I'm going to go ahead and link their video down below where they have their inspiration so you can see how they glammed it up and made it into like a chandelier. And I will link that down below where I put the supply list for this bird cage. So once you go ahead and use your wire cutters and you snap away that wire circle in the middle, you're then going to straighten out your wires on your basket and make sure they are as straight as possible. Now here you see that it just snapped right where I'm putting my fingers. It is because that is the joint ring of this larger circle. Don't worry if that breaks. I'm going to show you how to fix it. No matter how many times I tried to straighten these up without breaking that part, it just naturally happened every single time. So I'm going to show you how to fix that in just a second. So once you've got your wires all cut off that circle, you're going to go ahead and straighten them out, like I said, as best you can. And then you're going to pull them back a little bit so that they're pulling away. They naturally want to curve in from them being molded that way at the store when they made it. Once you've got it all pulled out just like that, you then can take some twine and some hot glue, and you could probably use some E6000 too, but that's going to take longer to dry, so I don't think that's necessary. I'm just taking a little dab of hot glue, holding it in place to make sure it dries, and then I'm going to take some twine and you're just going to wrap it around that to make sure it's all nice and stuck together. You could use electrical tape if you have some of that, so that you don't have to worry about spray painting it, which is what I ended up doing. I wrapped this around it and then I spray painted it. And the thing is you can keep going all the way around and wrap this whole ring, but I decided just to do this one little spot and spray paint it. And once it's spray painted, you don't even notice it at all anymore that it snapped or had an issue at this joint. So once you've got it all wrapped around nice and tight, just make sure you have a nice finish and everything's laying flat. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pliers and you're going to create a little hook at the end of each one of these long wire pieces that we just straightened out the best we could. So here you are with your pliers, and you're going to work your way all the way around the whole circle. You don't want to have a super huge hook, and you want to make sure that the hooks are the same height all the way around, because otherwise when you go to attach it to the part that you didn't cut, the one over there to my left, you're going to see that the bird cage could be crooked. So make sure all your hooks are the same height all the way around. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just take that other part, the one that you didn't cut, the other basket, and you're going to hook them inside all the way at the same line, that same joint. You can see how my lines of the wires are matching up with each other. And then you're going to take your pliers again and you're going to bend them down and pinch them all into place. Now the cool thing about this project is that each one of these baskets is $1. It comes with this really cool chain that you can use for another DIY and repurpose it later, but it costs $1, and to make one bird cage it's really only $2 and maybe 50 cents, because you're going to see some things I'm going to put towards the top to make it look like it's a bird cage with a little handle at the top. But this is like the easiest project. How pretty could these be at like a wedding reception? How pretty could this be decorated for any season in your home? And I'm really excited because I think I have some ideas for this for Halloween, to do some things with this craft and this idea. Once you have all the wires all tightened in place, and you want to make them as tight as possible, you're then going to take this flat part that comes from those caps from those glass jars. You can get them from mason jars or the Dollar Tree caps that they have as well. And then you're going to put that on the top, and you're going to use a combination of E6000 that's going to seal it long term, and then hot glue to hold it in place while the E6000 is drying. I like to make sure that I went all around on every single one of those little bumps to really make sure that it was nice and sealed onto it, so it really had a good bond. And then I took a popsicle stick and I'm just applying it where I'm rubbing it up against that metal black rod that goes up into it and just rubbing it all over to make sure everything's nice and sealed. And I try to do it as nice and clean as I possibly could. Then we're going to take one of these ping pong balls. I thought this was the funniest thing to put on here, but you know what? Sometimes the most random things can turn out to be so beautiful and look like the real thing. So I just did a little snip. It's really easy to cut. Do a little circle, doesn't have to be perfect. And you're doing this so that it'll lay flat on top of that can lid top. And you're gonna add some more of this E6000 all over the ping pong ball, and you're just gonna nicely snug that right on there. And you can add a little hot glue once again to make sure it holds in place while it dries. Now here is the next thing. You could make this bird cage as tall as you want. You can do 2 tiers, 3 tiers, 4 tiers, however you want. And the more you play with it, it's just so cool to do different heights and stack them all up on a table. If you are new to my channel and this is the first time clicking on this video, I would love it if you click the subscribe button and stick around. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. I post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on my channel. And I also have another channel that's a cleaning channel. I'm going to link them all at the end of this video. Our next project are going to be upcycling these thrifted baskets that I got half off, so I paid $1 for each one. And the reason why I wanted to show these is that when you paint something with a simple color like white, it has a whole new personality. Now these baskets, whoever previously owned them, painted it red on the inside and black on the outside, which is not really my thing. So I'm going to lighten them up, but still leave some of the black. Now red is a really tricky thing. It can be very porous, and so I had to paint the inside of the basket 5 times white. When you have something like that bleeding through, make sure that each layer dries really, really well, because it seals it inside that paint. When you add the next color, it'll allow the next layer of paint to not keep bleeding through. So that's the trick when you're painting something that's red. That's how much that thing had red paint absorbed into it, because I had to paint it 5 times. I usually don't have to paint it that much, but this time I did. For the outside, I avoided painting the 2 rings around the baskets because I just loved how it looked. I felt like it had a very Magnolia home look to it, and I just thought it was so pretty. So here's the cool thing about these baskets. You can store all kinds of goodies inside of it. You can put it in your pantry with potatoes and onions. You can put it inside a cabinet or on a shelf, and they just style so cute. So anytime you see these baskets, pick them up, give them some paint, and you will be so surprised. Real quick before we move on to the next project, I just wanted to remind you all that the next DIY challenge is going to be on May 8th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The theme is free. You can make whatever you want as long as it is DIY worthy. Our next project is something I am so excited to share because I have not seen anybody make these. This was an idea I came up with when I was roaming around the Dollar Tree one day. I saw these cutting mats and thought I could turn this in to a really cool thing. So I'm going to tell you what it is at the end. Hang in there so you can see all the steps first. We are going to take some paper. I'm just using an old dictionary that I'm constantly using, that I'm ripping pages out to either DIY with or using it to paint on top, and I'm going to make a little pattern. So I glued 4 pieces together, and then I made 2 X's at the center point, drew a line up on the side, curved up at the top, and then I ended up folding it in half and cutting along that line. This is often how I make a lot of my patterns, and I get things to be even on both sides. Once I got it to the point that I liked it and how it looked the right size, I went ahead and took my Sharpie marker because it worked best on these cutting mats. There's 2 in a pack, by the way, so it only cost $1 to make this thing. Just wait, you're going to be super excited when you see this one because these sell for so much. I can't believe that we can make this for just $1, and it's super easy to do. Go ahead and take your scissors and cut right on that line. Don't worry about having a little bit of that black showing from your Sharpie marker because we're going to be painting it anyway. So once you've got that part cut out, you're then going to take the second piece, and we want to create an opening, like a pocket that's kind of pushing out, because I wonder if you guys can all guess it by this point, because we are going to be turning this into a really cute wall hanging flower container, and you'll see in just a second what kind it is. So at this point, I'm gonna bring it out over 1 inch on each side, even closer to about 1.5 inches, where I want to be able to have it make a big enough opening when I curve it, because you want it to be curved. So go ahead and cut that all out. You can see here that I measured it out just like I showed, and you've got your 2 pieces. Now at this point, you're going to pull out your stapler, just a regular old stapler that you keep in your house, in your office area, and you are going to staple all the way along that whole edge. If one of the staples doesn't go all the way through, all you have to do is just push it down on the other sides, and then just go all along a straight line and staple all the way through. If you have any hangover, just cut that off. Then you're going to fold back the plastic to create a crease line so it has a nice rounded edge. Bring it over to the other side, staple the top and the bottom so that you can get it positioned right, and then staple all the way across again. Are you all starting to see what I'm making here? Now you're going to go ahead and fold back the plastic on the other side. You want to really make sure you crease that so it creates that dome feeling where you can put the flowers down inside or whatever you want to display inside of it. So here I am where I've got my front and my back figured out. Now we have to do the bottom. Now you're going to take that piece where you cut out the second piece that's curved on the top, and you're going to just find the spot that has the extra that you need to be able to create a bottom for your flower container, and you are going to just trace around it, create enough of a line and cut past it a little bit because you want to have a little overhang. We're going to trim off once it's all done drying. So you're going to take some E6000 and a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place short term and long term, and you're going to just put it to the side to let it dry. I let mine dry for about 6 hours, and then it was good for me to go ahead and start trimming up any extra, and then if anything were to pull back, you can just add a little bit more of the E6000 as you like. So here I am where I've let it dry, and I'm trimming off the extra so it has a nice seal at the bottom, and then like I said, if anything lifts, all you got to do is just add a little bit more, but mine held really well and I was able to cut away that extra. Then once you spray paint it, you can go ahead and start adding some different tints of gray, and you're going to see here that I'm coming in first with a medium type gray, not too dark, not too light, and I'm just patting it all around because we want to give it that corrugated metal look, and we're going to just keep adding it in. So I'm blotting it on first with my paintbrush, and then I'm coming back in with a napkin, and I just keep tapping it, tapping it, tapping it. So I'm doing all of one color gray first, tapping it all in. I set it aside because I'm doing 2 of them for today. I'm setting aside, letting it dry, and then I'll come back in with an even lighter one, and you just keep playing with it until you get that look that you're going for. So you don't have to go all the way down inside, and you definitely do not have to do the back side because it's going to be hanging on a wall or however you display it. You could if you want to. And then I went in with a really light color, really light gray, and then an even lighter white, and I just keep tapping it on until it looks like that metal-y look that these flower containers would normally look like. Isn't this so crazy? At this point, each one of these only cost me $1 to make. So here I am, I just keep playing with it and having fun. And I want you to keep in mind, you can make whatever shape you want. You can make them longer and skinny. You can make them just whatever length or height or width you want them to be. Then once you've got it all dried, you can go ahead and add in some of those form squares from the Dollar Tree, and then add in some florals of your liking. I went very neutral because I want to keep these up all year long. I have a place in my basement I think I'm going to put them, so I wanted to make sure that they were long term. And I added in some boxwood stems off of a long garland that I have from Hobby Lobby. I'm always cutting it apart. I paid 10 bucks for that long garland. It was the best investment. You can see there on the back side that the foam squares were there. I didn't spray paint the back of it because again, nobody's going to see it. But if you wanted to spray paint it, you totally could. So just keep playing with your floral arrangement until you get it to a place where you really like it and it looks really pretty to you. And again, have fun with this part. Use whatever florals you want. You don't have to do it like me. Now this is an important part if you decide to put a little tag on the front, just like I did. I decided to cut a little flap open, and then I added some hot glue down inside of it, so that way the foam stays in there permanently. I pushed the flap back, and then I added some more hot glue and added a cute little tag to the front. I think that the tag being on this makes this even more high-end. Again, something that you would see from Magnolia Home. I just love these so much. Now on the back side, you're going to want to make sure you cut a hole as well so that you're able to hang it up anywhere in your home. And I just think they're so cute with two of these paired together on a wall. What did you all think of my projects today? I was super excited about sharing all three of these. If you try them out, I would love to see them over on Instagram. Make sure you tag me there and come by and say hi. Thanks everyone for watching today. Until the next episode, bye friends.